All right. Uh, Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network. We are live here from the 2.66-mile Talladega Super Speedway here in Talladega, Alabama. Get ready for another exciting race in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. Tonight is the Safe Antifreeze in Coolants 200. We're going 200 miles, 76 laps from Talladega for the finale of the first round of the chase, where we cut from 14 drivers down to 9 in this first round of the chase. And with 4 races remaining after this one, we're down to the nitty-gritty of this season, and we're getting ready for an exciting finale at Phoenix Raceway, which comes up at Atlanta Motor Speedway, rather, which comes up on June 14th. We're at Phoenix Raceway next week. But right now, Talladega Super Speedway, possibly the most unpredictable race we'll have this season right here at Talladega. I'm Ryan Gable, and alongside me doing productions is Mr. James East, joining me in replacement of Jordan Owens, who is having some technical issues tonight and was unable to make it. Hopefully he'll be back for next week at Phoenix. But James, I know you've got some experience here on iRacing. You have seen races at Talladega before. What is your expectation tonight, if there's anything that you could possibly predict coming into a race at Talladega?
Ryan, first, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Hopefully we'll have Jordan back in the booth next week because he's an absolute pro. My experience here on iRacing at Talladega Super Speedway, especially these B-Class Xfinity cars, they're tons and tons of power, very little downforce. You can see guys going just wide open around this plate track, but these cars have a tendency to get a little rear-end slidey once you're running a tight pack. So I think things are going to be pretty calm until they're not, and once they do, we're going to see several big ones tonight is my prediction.
I think that's a pretty safe bet. The last time we came here last season, the winner was Damian Leininger, who comes into this race plus 9 points to the good in the chase. So in a relatively safe position, but at the same time, plus 9 is not very safe. So we'll have to see how that plans out for him. But he was your winner the last time we were at Talladega. As qualifying, as you're watching, Thomas Sherman on the racetrack has just gotten underway. Some guys finishing the first lap, but lap number 2 is the most important one, as guys get those Chevrolets, those Fords, those Toyota Supras up to speed. As you see Thomas Sherman coming out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. So this should be a really exciting race. Qualifying, though, probably matters the least here at Talladega. You can choose to start at the rear. A lot of guys do that. A lot of guys like to run up front. But it's really up to you where you feel safe. Do you feel safe trying to stay in front of the crashes, or do you feel safe hanging out back until it's time to pounce? But again, want to mention Safe Antifreeze and Coolants 200 tonight. Safe Coolant Cleaning Flush Tablets. The service pack contains 20 coolant cleaning tablets per pouches. Each reusable pouch contains treatment for 12 liters or 3.2 U.S. gallons of clean while you drive. It is non-hazardous, non-toxic, biodegradable, and effervescent dissolving cleaning tablets. pH balanced, and it safely removes corrosion and scale from the entire coolant system surfaces, including the radiator and heater cores. Safe Coolant Cleaning Flush Tablets are pH balanced for the safe, fast, effective use. So I want to thank Safe Antifreeze and Coolants for coming on board, sponsoring tonight's event here at Talladega. So as qualifying continues, Scott Crump, a man who has returned from being absent for a few weeks, is always a threat in qualifying. Still a few minutes left to go here, but sits on the provisional pole with a 54.149. He has 3 poles on the season so far. So a qualifying ace for sure. 3 poles, 2 wins, but unfortunately eliminated from contention to make it to the next round of the chase due to missing the first 2 races of this round. But Crump going to be a factor in this one.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, Ryan. This is one of the few racetracks where qualifying, like you said, doesn't matter a whole lot, and some people prefer not to be that very tippy-top car, as Scott Crump is currently sitting on provincial pole. Draft battle is going to be huge here. Scott's got to trust the guys right behind him to push him to the front without getting spun around on this one, so not sure what his game strategy is going to be, because another thing to consider is once you're up front all by yourself, you are burning more fuel than everybody behind you, so green flag strategy is going to come into effect later on in the run as well tonight.
Yeah, this race, 76 laps. If it were to go green, I believe you could stretch it and get away with possibly a one-stop strategy. It's cutting it really close, though, but of course, I do not predict this race to go green the whole way. There is a very good possibility that we get a run at one point during this race toward the beginning or middle of this race where guys are taking it easy, and we may get ourselves a decent run, but I expect our race here tonight to have a pretty big accident at one point. But Scott Crump has officially picked up the pole. That is another pole to add to his list of poles this season. He had the pole at Darlington back in April, as well as back-to-back pole and wins in Rockingham and Texas back at the end of March. And it has been since April 12th at Darlington, but he picks up another pole here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway, as we'll run through the starting lineup you see on your screen right now.
Yeah, starting in the first row, we got Scott Crump and Josh Robin. Second row, Tyler Fode, Trevor Elam. Third row, Jared Rexing, and then Damien Leninger. And then final row of that first section is Zishan Dura and Thomas Sherman.
Yeah, we're going to scroll through the rest of your starting grid here on your screen, but it's surprising to see Tyler Fode starting third is your best of the chase guys. Josh Robin is not in the chase. He did not make it. He was the first guy out, I believe. But Tyler Fode starting third won the other super speedway race we had this season. He dominated this, or has been dominating this season as we speak, in that number 40 Lake Norman Motorsports Chevrolet. He has been just unbelievable. Has an average finish of 2.71, and this has not been this league is not one that is usually dominated like that by a certain driver, and especially in this series of such a variety of road courses, short tracks, super speedways. I mean, it's just unbelievable what he has been able to do. I mean, just 14 starts he's run every race this season, and he has finished in the top 10 in every single race. I believe his worst finish right now this season sits at position number 6. I'd be shocked if he's able to pull off another top 6 tonight at Talladega with just a crapshoot of a race. But hey, he's been able to get it done in pressure situations like this before.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shocked the caliber of the field here. I mean, looking at live time right now, we see between 2,500 I rating to 5,000 I rating. So this is an absolutely stacked field with these competitors tonight.
Yeah, there is definitely a large amount of talented drivers in this field. And the fact that Tyler Fode, who sits right with these talented drivers, is able to just put on an unbelievable, consistent season is just rather amazing. He won the only other super speedway race this season so far, the season opener at Daytona. He also has wins at Homestead Miami Speedway. He has a win at Martinsville to round out the regular season, and he won last week at Charlotte. So mile and a half, short track, super speedway, he's won it all just this season alone. And he is going to try and do it again tonight at another super speedway, at the Talladega Super Speedway. He'll start third.
So Ryan, we're stacking them up here. You see some guys trying to warm their tires a little bit. What's your prediction for the opening laps here? Are guys going to be comfortable riding 2x2 for a while until the field sorts itself out? Or are we going to see 3 wide action going into 1 immediately tonight?
This could go either way. I've seen super speedway races where right off the bat you've got guys making 3 wide moves, and at the same time you've got guys that just pull over, which we're definitely going to see. I feel a good amount of guys. We're going to watch out of turn 2, drop to the bottom and drop to the rear. I talked to a few drivers before the race that said they wanted to drop back, and a few guys during the race that said they got no point in dropping back. I'm going to go for it. Guys that aren't in the chase or are already locked into the next round, which right now is only Tyler Fode. Also, Chris Wright has a pretty big gap, 29 points to the good. So that is pretty safe as long as he doesn't finish dead last in this one or some sort of miracle happens. But Chris Wright is in really good shape. Tyler Fode locked in. Everyone else, though, that is not in the chase, you got nothing to lose. They might be pushing it from the very get-go here, which includes your front row of Scott Crump and Josh Robin.
This is going to be absolutely spectacular. Pace car is in. We're getting ready to go. It is the number 90 show. Scott Crump is going to decide when they make it happen here.
Yep, coming to the green flag for the safe antifreeze and coolants 200 from the Talladega Superspeedway. 76 laps, 200 miles. We are underway for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series Round 1 of the Chase finale from the Talladega Superspeedway.
Here we go. So far, so good. They're running 2x2 in that front row when the rest of the outside line kind of stacks up. 24 machine, Trevor pushing the machine right in front of him. I believe that's number 8, Josh Robin. So far, pretty calm.
Dead even down the back straightaway. Trevor Elam, a guy who only appeared into this series a few weeks ago and has been a top 10 car every week, has been a very strong competitor in his first couple of races in the league and in this series. He works the top side behind Robin, but no one being too aggressive on the pushing yet. The bottom line is going to prevail out of turn 4. Surprised to see nobody really dropped out of line. A couple guys chilling toward the back, giving extra room, but pretty tight racing here through the ever so treacherous tri-oval. And Scott Crump is going to lead lap number 1 in the Stay Tuned Sports Chevy Camaro.
That is some good trust with your competitors right there, Ryan. We see Tyler playing number 40 machine just all over the rear of Scott Crump, trying to give him that extra push and get some distance and him that outside line. So I'm really impressed. They're 2x2 as far back as the eye can see, and pretty clean racing. Somebody dropping an apron. He's had enough right now.
Yeah, I think that's Vincent Isabella. Not loving what he's seeing right now. A lot of cars up in this main group, as of course the whole field is still in this one. A lot of darting around a little bit here and there, but it's about a 14-car breakaway, and then there's a bit of a gap back to what you could almost call a second group, where guys are just kind of hanging in there, just close enough to where you want to be in the draft, but not within that main pack per se, somewhere where you can see a wreck and react in time. As to the stripe this time by Josh Robin with a good push on the top line is going to lead that lap in the belly-up Fantasy Live Chevy Camaro. And he's going to drop in front of Scott Crump to the bottom.
Yeah, 8 Machine, our new current leader. He's going to try and abandon his friends on that outside line, drop low and get a push from Crump and Fody, who have been bumping hard to try and get a little bit of space going. So it looks like so far that inside line is a dominant place to be.
Some aggressive push in there from Crump to Robin. Got a little out of shape. These cars are not like the Cup cars where they have a ton of downforce in the Cup Series cars, and you're able to dart around and push more aggressive. These cars can definitely be a lot more on edge, and it's really easy to give someone a bad push and turn them around in front of the field or down into the inside wall or wherever. So you got to be really careful with these Xfinity type cars that we use here in the Grand National Series, as things can get sketchy really fast with them small spoilers on the back of the cars.
Yeah, Ryan, like you're saying, with these low downforce packages, much less pronounced bubble behind these cars as well. In the Cup cars, you'll get right up on somebody and almost come to a stop. You can't quite get to their rear bumper, but no problem with these Xfinity cars. They cut right through the air, then get right on their friend's bumper and really suck up into the draft, which can make some exciting closing speeds if they're trying to make something happen.
Down into turn 3, still Josh Robin, Scott Crump on the inside line working together. Everyone staying fairly calm. Crump's going to fall off the back bumper of Robin a little bit. Might be running kind of hot there. It's an easy thing to do. If you run behind somebody pushing too hard for too long, those temps are going to go up, and so early like this, you don't want to run it until it blows up. Maybe on the last lap you'll push the issue, but Crump had to lift there, and that gave a huge run to the top. Trevor Elam's going to lead this lap and be clear, and he may drop to the inside.
Yeah, we're on board with Fody right now. It gives you an idea. You can appreciate just how tight this racing is. He's all over the rear bumper of the number 90 machine, Scott Crump. Nowhere to go on his outside. I mean, he can reach out and touch somebody if he wants to. It's just such good, tight racing here at Talladega.
And here comes Damian Leininger now with the push from Gerald Campbell on the outside. Damian Leininger, a chase driver with a solid gap points-wise, but I think what he wants to do right now is get a lap lead and get that bonus point for the number 12 Bat Flip Podcast Chevrolet for Lake Norman Motorsports. On the top with the push from the Flat Out Racing Network Chevy of Gerald Campbell. On the outside, Damian going to try his hardest to lead this lap, pinches Trevor Elam down across the stripe. They were dead even, actually exactly dead even, a gap of 0.000, but give it to Trevor Elam at the line. He led the lap, so Damian not leading the lap that time by, and he falls back a little bit through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I gotta say, Ryan, I'm very impressed. Though it's the guys have kept it clean tonight. As aggressively as they're starting to pushing, the longer this run goes on, the more antsy you can see some of these guys making something happen. And as we say that, 8 pushes to the outside, tries to get a line going.
Yeah, Josh Robin got clear. He was the second car on the bottom. It's a move you see a lot at these super speedway races. If you're the second car on the bottom, you get clear of that top line, you jump up and take the lead of that top line, and now that's going to hurt the momentum of the bottom and help the momentum of the top as long as you make that move where you're very clear and you're not really shaking up that top line. So a clean move there by Robin to help up that top line. Not quite getting a great run, but he's got the nose on the right rear corner panel of Trevor Elam. And this third groove is going to start to get going here. It is Kendall Noah Player on the outside line with help from Josh Personette and a couple other cars trying to make that third groove go. This track is very easily able to hold 3 grooves, but it definitely gets sketchy, especially when you got guys like Chad Frankenfield here jumping in late.
Yeah, Frankenfield tried to get on top of that third groove right in front of Kendall, but that third line's getting something working. I didn't think we were going to be seeing that much 3x3 action here at Talladega after what we see in official hosted races.
Oh, Damian Leininger just jumped up to the top really late in front of Chad Frankenfield. A lot of guys are liking this third groove, and it's getting really dicey and really aggressive here. That middle line has now dropped down to only 2 cars in it, and this very top groove has a line of about 5 guys, as the bottom has a very large group of cars, but this middle line has completely dropped down to only 2 cars, so a weird formation we got going on right now in this lead group.
Yeah, this is where things are going to get exciting as people are trying to figure out who they want to work with, who they can trust to make something happen without spinning their car around. And they're 3x3x4, I think. That's a good race.
Yeah, a couple guys, Kendall Noah Player, Thomas Sherman, Josh Personette just jumped out of that top groove. They gave up on it. Whoa, big block from Josh Robin in the lead to the bottom line. But these guys look like eventually are going to shift back to being just 2 wide. Ooh, Damian Leiner getting aggressive with some side drafting there from the top, trying to get the last bit of momentum from that top groove, but they're going to drop all the way to the rear of this lead group. Chad Frankenfield and Damian Leininger are.
We are 8 laps out of 76. I think heart rate is up for everybody, competitors and broadcasters, fans alike. This is really fun to watch. Most guys trying to find that guy to work with, but it doesn't look like everybody's really committed to one line at this point. Everybody's kind of hopping around, feeling out the racetrack, seeing what feels faster before they tuck in and make something happen.
Yeah, I'm shocked the amount of aggressiveness we've got going on right now. There's lots of lane changing happening, lots of attempts on the third groove, as we just saw, and a lot of hard pushing. It's just stuff that I did not expect out of these guys in a very important chase race to do. But again, a lot of these guys in this lead pack that are making these moves are not in the chase, so that could very well be what's causing these aggressive moves and this aggressive racing so early on.
And Ron, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast too, there's not really many people out here that aren't really good, clean racers. So these are guys they can trust for the most part to be that tight action and make something happen without worrying about spinning somebody or somebody making a silly mistake. So way, way different than you get hopping in with a bunch of random folks. These guys race week in and week out against each other, and their reputation means a lot to them. Nobody wants to be the guy lap 10 in trying to make a boneheaded move and crash all your friends in one solid go.
Everybody in here knows who can hold a line and who can't, and they know who to give maybe a little more room and who they can pinch a little harder, which always helps when it comes to these situations. And right now, this top group is all racing like we got a bunch of Earnhardts up here because they're pinching, they're running each other hard, they're nearly dooring each other, and it's somehow worked out so far as we come to complete 10 laps. Trevor Elam is the leader on the bottom line, Gerald Campbell the leader on the top groove, or really the middle groove, as Damian Leininger and Chad Frankenfield are still trying to make something happen back there on the top, but it's not working out so hot. But the lead has changed between Gerald Campbell, Trevor Elam, Josh Robin, Scott Crump a few times now.
Yeah, seeing Campbell and Elam go back and forth on live timing. Campbell's up 7 positions, but don't forget about Kendall Noah Player currently showing up 15 positions from his start.
Yeah, Kendall Noah Player is a Daytona 500 champion in the Elite Racing League. He really comes out to these super speedway tracks and shines. He does really well, but he's going to get left out to dry there. He got a little out of shape, and Josh Personette, I don't think he meant to, but he did get his nose under Kendall Noah Player. He's going to wash him back in the field a little further, but still no harm, no foul there. A long way to go.
Good person to mention here, Richard Hines, the number 87 Ford. He's up 20 positions from his start, so he's probably one of those guys that opted, you know what, qualifying's not for me, track position's not that important early on in the race, and he's making big moves cutting through the pack tonight. It's really going to impressive to see from him.
Yeah, absolutely good run there. As still some aggressive racing going on. Josh Robin just jumped from the second car on the bottom to lead this top group. Crump's going to move up to the bumper of Elam. Gerald Campbell now to the bumper of Robin as these guys continue to switch positions left and right. But Trevor Elam continuing to lead at Talladega. He's shown pretty strong here on the bottom. Nobody's been able to get that top line going. We saw some battling there in the top groove that kind of weakened it, lessened the amount of cars in it, but they've gotten some strength in numbers going right now. Might have a charge here with Josh Robin at the stripe this time by dead even again. Give it 1/1000th of a second. Trevor Elam leads that lap by just a hair, if that, and he continues to lead the bottom line. Josh Robin leads the top, and it is 2 by 2 all the way back to outside of the top 20.
Yeah, you're gonna start some of these guys, I think, Ryan, start sticking their nose out just a little bit just to get some air in the front of their car, cool everything down for these long runs. Not sure if these guys plan on super long runs tonight or what their pit strategy is going to be, so not quite sure what the pit window is on these machines. I want to say around lap 35, you know by chance?
Yeah, I think it's around 35 to 40. We do have a lot of movement happening right now. Gerald Campbell just completely bailed out of the lead group. Tyler Fode saw a huge opening, followed Scott Crump to the front of the field. They have completely cleared Trevor Elam. And we got all sorts of movement happening right now, kind of awkward. Usually it's a sort of, formation that the top and bottom groove move around in. It is all over the place right now. The bottom groove has lost a ton of cars, and the top groove has gained a ton, as now it is Tyler Fode leading, but now it is Josh Robin leading with help from Jared Rexing and Josh Personette moving to the front, 1, 2, 3. They had a huge run down the back and decided to take it, and they are clear into the lead, that top 3.
Yeah, they're starting to work out a little bit of a gap while those guys behind them are battling. And you're right, normally you see kind of cars snaking across the racetrack as one guy makes an adjustment and the rest of the line follows suit in a big old accordion effect. But a lot of herky-jerky movements tonight, not something you normally see at a super speedway.
Yeah, that was all caused because Gerald Campbell no longer wanted to be a part of that lead group, or at least he didn't choose that. He was given the opportunity and he took it, and Gerald has now fallen to the rear of this lead group. He was up in the top 5, and that kind of caused all sorts of scrambling, and now we got Josh Personette leading the outside line, and we'll have to see if Jared Rexing decides to block it as they come to his outside. He's not going to into turn number 3. He remains on the inside behind the 8 of Josh Robin.
Yeah, very clean racing. Despite some of the herky-jerky movements, everybody's keeping it clean and avoiding crashing into their buddies. And good car control as well, as the rear of these cars get a little bit light once your front takes the air out from underneath you. So well done to all these drivers so far. Not sure how things are going to develop as the tire wear comes into play, especially around anywhere between lap now and lap 25. Cars might get a little bit looser and it might get a little bit more exciting here, but again, excellent car control.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I wanted to mention is within the top 10, there are, I believe, 3, maybe 2 chase drivers currently. We got Tyler Fode running 6th, Damian Leininger running 7th. Tyler Fode already locked into the next round. Damian Leininger with a solid 9-point gap heading into this race. And that is it. Chad Frankenfield's the next guy in the chase, running just outside the top 10. He was 11th at the stripe last time. But if you look at the chase drivers, they are all hanging out around 20th on back, just hanging in the back of the field. You got guys like Nick Massey, Brian Blauman, Hank Steinmiller, Josh Clark, David Tooker, all guys that entered here on the bubble. Matthew Weeks, they are hanging out at the very rear of the field, outside of the top 25. So you can see what the strategy of the chase drivers is they, for the majority of them at least, are hanging way back in the field. But the entire field is still within the draft of the leader. Brent Jones, currently running in last, is at the tail of the field, just hanging in there without a worry in the world. The last car on the lead group here as things get a little dicey for the lead.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, especially like you're saying, the smarter guys already in the chase, they're betting heavily on a big wreck during this race. They don't want to have anything to do with it. And even if they're wrong, there is no wreck, it's a long green flag run, then they're going to try and do it on pit strategy, get back out there, and then start fighting hard. But willing to play it safe in the opening half of the race here tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with the strategy call on those guys, that hanging out in the back is probably a good call because we are bound to see a wreck the way these guys have been racing up front. We've had a couple close calls already. Also, while we have a second, wanted to give a quick shout out. I was asked to show this car of Josh Personette, who's up front. He has got a paint scheme on there with some notes, as our league admin, our league owner, Mr. Chad Frankenfield, is getting married this week. So I want to congratulate Chad to his marriage. So yeah, you can see the words on the hood there. I'll let you read them yourself, all the viewers. But Chad will be getting married this week, so we've got to congratulate the both of them on that coming up this week.
Well done to Personette for the paint scheme with the Chad and the baby carriage riddle on the front of it. That's spectacular. And again, that's one of the best parts about racing with the same guys week in, week out. Like you're saying, you know who to ride with, you know who to give space, but you develop friendships with these guys even on your off weekends, and it's a big old goofy online family of racers here at Elite Racing League. So very cool to see from Personette running the paint scheme, giving Frankenfield a big thumbs up on his upcoming kid.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is cool to become friends with a lot of these guys and get to meet them at racetracks all over the place, and it's a really cool thing to have an online family of race fans that you usually cannot find within your personal lives if you don't go to the racetrack a lot. But it is a really cool thing. There is Personette did lead that time by. He led the lap, and Josh Robin now trying to fight back on the inside as these two run side by side. Looks like Personette's got a really big run here, might lead just another lap here.
Yeah, right at the end, I think he's going to grab it there. Personette up 10 positions from where he started. Something else we want to keep an eye on here, Ryan. Look at the number 81 machine, Johnny Thomas. He's up 23, 22 positions so far. So one of those guys started off back, and he decided, oh, it's going to be a longer green flag run than I planned on, and he's starting to hammer down tonight.
And he just hammered his way to the third line. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for him. I don't know if he was put there or if he put himself there, but he's going to move to the outside line there, Johnny Thomas. Johnny is the league owner of Erska, which is another popular league that runs these exact same Xfinity cars on Monday nights right after this race. I'm not sure where they are tonight. I don't partake in it, but a lot of the guys here in the Elite Racing League pull the double every Monday night. They run the Elite Racing League, and then they run Erska right afterwards. That is a really big popular league that a lot of guys enjoy.
Yeah, the more these guys run, and really once you really get into iRacing and the competitive league scene, you start finding the same names throughout the week. It could be random leagues, it could be public lobbies, but you start to remember people's names and who you see, and like we were saying, like you build a reputation within your league, but within the iRacing service itself, you start to remember, oh, that's so-and-so, I run with him on this week, on this day. So really cool to see people from around the world kind of getting to know each other and getting to drive with each other all the time. It's really cool, especially during this corona pandemic. We're all been locked at home for coming up on, I don't know, 2 years, a year and a half. People are able to get their race fix whenever they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And still holding on side by side through the field. An impressive run so far, coming to complete 21 laps as Josh Personette and Josh Robin continue to swap back and forth for the lead position. I just want to mention the fastest lap of the race currently is a 49.994 by Johnny Thomas. He has the fastest lap of the race, and still clean and green up to this point at Talladega through 21 laps completed now. Wanted to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors and the sponsor of the series, the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. SMRI is an independent record label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. They focus on delivering comprehensive digital content with organic media for all your digital needs. And they also provide multiple avenues of content consumption, making sure that you're always in control. As a content provider, SMRI offers a unique, ever-growing catalog to fit your needs for any bespoke media desire. So got to give a big thanks to SMRI Productions, which they sponsor the series. They also sponsor a couple cars out there on the racetrack you may see. I think Matthew Weeks is one of them, and oh man, we got a four-wide situation at the rear of this group that almost got really dicey there. Some guys trying to bail out of it, some guys trying to keep their foot in it, almost got a little iffy there, but everyone makes it through. No issue, but that could have been close call number one for sure.
Yeah, a lot of guys did their best to plan on pit strategy and stay out of the carnage. Almost got invited to it, even if they didn't want to. They brought it to them.
Yeah, got a little dicey right there for sure.
Oh, look at that lead pack, Ryan. They're starting to go 2 or 3 wide, dicing back and forth. Josh Robin, Personette, Crump, all trying to make something happen in that pack and try and get a drive and kind of move somebody out of the way. But Personette and the 18 machine's blocking hard. He's taking up all 3 lanes right now.
Whoa, Scott Crump got a run, and he didn't want to lift and was forced to go the outside 3 wide. And I tell you one thing, I don't think anybody, maybe one car, Kendall Noah player jumps to the top trying to make the third groove work, but not going to work out too well for them, I don't think, unless they get a lot more cars. But Crump's going to fall way back because it is 2 rows of racing all the way outside the top 20 or 25. But that top line hurting a little bit now because of that little move.
Oh, they're shaking it up again. 3 and 4 wide, trying to find a place going into 3.
Yeah, getting rather interesting in the back. Josh Personette has sort of backed up this top line a little bit as that move got a little bit dicey. Now the top 3 cars on the bottom are clear, and that's going to give Tyler Fode the ability to move to the top and lead this top groove. So Fode now going to give himself a chance to lead some laps. Already locked into the next round of the chase with the win last week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Oh man, getting really dicey now. Some guys getting a little pushy on the top line. Saw Leininger and Campbell get a little loose into turn 1. Everything's okay so far.
Oh, you're right as you say that. They start working at that 3rd line. Trying to see what machine that is. That might be Leininger, could be Campbell. They're trying to get that outside line working.
Yeah, Campbell up top with Scott Crump, who was forced out there earlier. Now those 2 are stuck up top. They don't want to bail out of it, and they don't want to kill themselves here in a wreck, so they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place here. But Campbell and Crump are going to push for it on the top line. They got a massive run through the tri-oval right now.
So Ryan, this is what I think what's happening. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll get an angry tweet from one of the drivers. But I think with the pit window starting to open, is my prediction, between lap 25 and about 35, I think these guys are just going to hammer down as hard as they possibly can for this remaining, treat it like a stage, if you will. Try and get that little bit of traction before everybody starts to cycle in. So I think that's what we're seeing right here as we go 3 by 3 as far back. God, the top 15 looks like it's all 3 by 3.
And things are getting really intense now. A lot of drivers saw that huge run Campbell and Crump were able to make on the top and decided to go for it and follow them. But now it's getting real dicey up there on the top line, and it's not looking too good right now. We'll have to see if they get a big run. Vincent Isabella joined them up top. We'll see how that works out for them, but getting really tight right now. When it comes to pit strategy, guys might be thinking you can make it on one stop easier than maybe I think you can, but it's all about working with teammates. There's a lot of teams. What strategy you want to pull over the race radio, but we'll have to see what strategy these guys pull. If they just try to pull it and stretch it over 35 close to 40 laps, see if they can make it on one stop, or do they just come in when they feel like it's safe to do so and then make 2 stops. But either way, I think this race won't go green the whole way, but hey, you never know. This has been surprisingly clean for as hectic as it's been at the same time.
Yeah, I never thought we'd be on lap 27, 3 wide for the majority of the race, and green so far. So just a big testament to how good these racers actually are out here. And it's been spectacular the entire time to broadcast and call. I can't imagine how much fun it is in the car for these guys.
Man, Scott Crump has given an amazing push to Gerald Campbell. I don't know how much he's got left in him. And he's going to push Campbell clear into turn 1. Oh, he was almost clear of the bottom line. He was able to get clear of the middle and drop down. I'm surprised Crump had that much left in him. That engine must be running hot in the number 90 car, but now that hurts the top line because they're down to only 3 cars. Johnny Thomas and Vincent Isabella pushing Scott Crump on the very top line, but Campbell making it work in the 3rd groove, is able to get to the top spot of the middle groove.
Yeah, Isabella, a great racer to watch, especially in the truck series we run on Sundays. He's definitely one of those long-run drivers. The longer the run progresses under green, the more positions you see Isabella on that beautiful 42 machine try and make up and make something happen. So I'm going to be watching him as long as we keep progressing like this. He's somebody that I'm going to, the number 2 machine of Isabella, somebody I'm going to want to keep tabs of and see how he does tonight.
Yeah, he was a driver that coming into the regular season finale at Martinsville was in, but a late race wreck with just a couple laps to go knocked him out of the chase. So unfortunately for Vincent, was not able to make the chase for the season. But he is nevertheless having a great season overall, has had some good runs throughout this season, and Gerald Campbell, though, to the top spot in the 31 car. Another guy who's had a couple good runs this season is out front with Josh Robin behind him. Both those cars are teammates with PRC, and now they're running 1-2, the PRC esports machines, and now they're running side by side, maybe not helping each other out as much as they could be.
I was about to say the sponsors really like seeing that, the 1 and 2 machines up there, or excuse me, first and second place machines, but these guys are also racing for their own event. They want to win. Racers race, so there's not a lot of team orders here on iRacing.
Josh Robin just got a huge shot from Tyler Fody, and it wasn't square. It was on the right rear and almost knocked Robin down into his teammate, which would have been ugly if we had the top 2 cars tangle in front of everybody, because we are still really tight side-by-side, 3-wide action throughout the field. Now it's Chuck Sweeting and Josh Personette trying to make the third groove work up there in the 75 and the 18. Have to see how that works out, but not looking too great now as Tyler Fody's giving some really aggressive shots to the back bumper of the 8 of Josh Robin all the way around the racetrack. And it's dangerous, but as you can see, if you do it and get away with it, look at the speed that these 2 cars have on the top line as Tyler Fody is just chained to the back bumper of the 8 of Josh Robin. They are both clear, but Fody's going to stay to the top line because look who's next in line is Fody's teammate, Damian Leininger, in the 12 car. Now we got 2 pairs of teammates, bottom and top here, the first 4 cars.
Yeah, I think Robin didn't want to have any more to do with that. As fast as they were going, it's very risky to try and get that drive. As we both saw, that car was super unsettled. And some of these guys, while they're comfortable pushing as hard as they can, sometimes enough is enough, and they're going to get out of the line here.
Tyler Fody gets clear to the bottom after a good shove from his teammate, Damian Leininger. So now it is the days gone by vintage racing apparel Chevy of Tyler Fody, the regular season champion, last week's winner, the man who has finished in the top 6 every single race this season. Tyler Fody is going to lead another one here at Talladega.
Now, Ryan, have you talked to any of the crew chiefs on pit lane? Is anybody discussing pit stop strategy yet among the drivers, or is it pretty silent out there?
I have not been able to talk to any of the drivers, but if I have to assume that we're not going to go longer than another 8 laps, I don't think you can get past 40 laps here in tank of gas, especially the way we've been racing here. Some of the guys that have been hanging out in the back half throttle the whole way maybe be able to do a couple more laps than these guys that have been up front, but I expect between laps 35 and 40 to pit. Usually you can do a little less than 40. Maybe you can do a little more if you've been saving a lot, but we'll have to see. It's all up to the teams and whether they want to stretch it, because it's going to be really close. If you do 38 laps, I mean, it's going to be really close if you can make it to the end of this race or not on a tank of gas on 1 pit stop.
Yeah, these top 15 guys, there's not a whole lot of fuel saving that can be done. If you lift just a little bit in these corners or try and clutch it, you're going to get absolutely ran over by about 20 machines. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of long-haul strategy. I think when they start coming in, they're all going to come in.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. It could go any way, as we got Johnny Thomas gets shoved to the outside line, got a little messy there in the middle. He's going to move to the top. He's got David Westergreen there in the 22 behind him, but I don't think they're going to be going anywhere anytime soon. But still, Tyler Fody leading the bottom line. Damian Leininger and Scott Crump in the middle. And we're going to see how long these guys can stretch it. But I assume my crew chiefing mind is saying, my Larry McReynolds, inner Larry McReynolds, is saying these guys are going to try and go as long as they can. And the only dangerous part about that is the majority of these cars are probably all going to come down to the pits at the same lap. Usually if it were a scenario where we for sure have to pit one more time, these guys would try to spread it out and pit a little early so they don't have a ton of cars coming in at the same time with them, because we've seen lots of accidents happen on pit entry at tracks like Talladega and Daytona during green flag stops. So I expect teams to be forced to stay out as long as they can and pit as one large group, or 1 or 2 large groups. So this could get very interesting here with the next couple laps if we're able to make it to that lap 35, 36-ish mark. But if these guys want to make it on one stop, they'll have to at least make it to lap 38, because that's halfway. So that would make sense to me. If you make it halfway, you could do the other half, but then we have overtimes and cautions, so who knows what's going to happen here. But if I were a driver, I would plan on the slim possibility of this race going all the way green, and I'd stay out as long as I possibly can.
Good old Elite Racing League, where even the pit stops are nail-biters. Oh, this is I'm so impressed with the caliber of the drivers tonight. We've seen such heavy pushes from friends, teammates, competitors alike, and there's kind of been a little bit, they run 2x2 for the most part, and a little bit less 3-wide, 4-wide action, but really clean racing, a whole lot of lead swaps tonight too.
Aggressive move. I just watched Vincent Isabella sent it in the middle and doored Josh Personette completely out of his way to make it into the middle line. That was a bit of an aggressive move by Vincent Isabella, who's on a mission to get to the front of the field, has now moved into the third car on the top row, or on the middle row as you might see it as, but he is in the baseball scheme number 42. He's one of two baseball schemes up front, as you see Damian Leininger as well in the 12 car, but these guys are both having good runs right now. Damian Leininger needs a good run to make sure he makes it into the next round of the chase. Tyler Fode's got nothing to lose, so he's all in for this win, looking for another win this season, looking for win number 5. Trying to keep that average finish up. I mean, if he doesn't finish second or better, his average finish is going to get worse, so he's got to do something to keep that number good.
Yeah, guys, not afraid of hanging out on the line tonight and give it all they've got. Lap 36 of 76. So we think that pit window is going to officially open in about 2 laps for those who are going to try and do a one-stop strategy. For somebody else considering maybe a 2-stop strategy or banking on yellows, we start seeing cars cycle in, but they're getting squirrely out there, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm thinking at this point, everybody's plan is you got to try and make it on one stop. So at this point, there's no point in pitting now unless you're out of gas. So these guys are going to push all the way until they get past this halfway point. I expect lap 39, we see pit stops. 38's even cutting it close, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. For guys that have been leading for a while, such as Tyler Fode, Josh Robbins, Scott Crump, Damian Leininger, who have all now been leading. As you see Damian Leininger drop to the bottom and into the lead now. Lake Norman cars are 1-2 on the bottom. We'll have to see if they're able to stretch it all the way past through 38 to 39 and make it on one stop if this is to go green for a while.
Yeah, just like you were saying, if they box lap 38, they really need to hope on a caution. They cannot. It is going to be pushing. If you're at the front of this pack wide open the entire time, nobody helping you out with the arrow in the draft, that's a lot of fuel to try and save while also keeping it out front and keeping it clean.
We have come now to 1 lap left until we make it to halfway. Also, the leader at halfway gets 1 playoff point that you get added to your total at the start of next round. So this is the battle to the halfway point, if my math is correct. This is to the completion of 38 out of 76. So this is the race for that bonus playoff point, or chase point. And right now, Damian Leininger has a half car length advantage over the top line of Scott Crump and Vincent Isabella. Leininger has his teammate Tyler Fode to push. They're going to stay out. Scott Crump does not have a great push, and it looks like Damian Leininger will pick up the halfway bonus point in the number 12 car, which is much needed for someone with not a ton of playoff points heading into the round of 9.
Yeah, that last run, it looked like Isabella tried to take a peek on the inside, see if he can make something happen to get up there and maybe score a point for himself, but had to check up and get back in line with Crump and cost that outside line, just that little bit of speed where it avoided getting Crump to the front at the end of that one.
So coming down the back straightaway, we have now officially got into the pit window where I think you can pretty safely pit now and make it all the way. But these guys probably going to stretch it extra far just to make sure they can make it all the way. But I'm seeing it calm down a little bit. Only 6 or 7 guys are even in the middle lane right now, while the entire rest of the field runs the bottom. A couple guys have dove onto pit lane in the very back of the field. Looks like actually the majority of the rear of the field has come into the pits. Michael Daniel Martinez, 3 of the Pro Edge cars, Matthew Weeks, David Tooker, Josh Clark, Brian Blauman, all chase drivers in the pits from the rear of the field. They're going to come in first before the swarm, which could be coming in this lap.
Yeah, trying to go for a little bit of an undercut, it looks like. So those guys are planning, I believe they're gonna box this one and try and stay out for the rest of it. There's a lot of fast guys that made that decision, so they know something that maybe I don't. They've got a good strategy going on for them.
Yeah, they all are in and out pretty clean. 4 tires of fuel for everybody there. Let's see who comes in this time. Scott Crump has cleared to the bottom. Vincent Isabella leads the top. Let's see who comes in. Here comes the Lake Norman cars and more. Tons of cars hit the pit lane. The majority of the bottom line. Everyone trying to get it woed up to 55 miles an hour. Oh, one car has spun. It's Josh Personette. He hits the pit entry cone, which should be a penalty. Personette keeps it straight, though. If that penalty is the case, that's going to be an unfortunate hold. Oh, another car around is Kendall Noah Player in the inside wall in the pit lane. He might have gotten tagged trying to get to his box, but Kendall Noah Player and Josh Personette both in trouble.
Yeah, hard crash it looked like.
Kendall Noah Player got tagged by Thomas Sherman trying to pit, but they looks like Kendall Noah Player and Josh Personette with problems. Everyone else got in clean. Here comes your leaders now into the pit lane. This is your last group of cars that has yet to pit. Oh man, here they come. Barreling in is Zishan Dura is not going to be able to slow down in time. He hits the cone. That was Zishan Dura in the 0-1. Everyone else is going to get in mostly clean. David Westergreen ping-ponged off a few cars getting into his box. He actually missed his box, so he had to back up.
Now look at this run. We've got Chad Frankenfield, Chuck Sweeting, Nick Mass, Chris White, Richard Hines, all electing to stay out for a little bit longer here.
Yeah, they're going to stay out one more lap. They were on the top line, so it would have been tough to pit there, but we'll have to wait and see what happens here. There's still, 5 cars that have yet to pit, 6 cars that have yet to pit, and we expect to see them come in right here. Led by Frankenfield, who gets a bonus point for leading that lap. That could be very important. He's going to dive down in the pit lane, and everybody is following him in. That is going to be the rest of the field has made it to pit road now. Kendall Noah Player is back in the pit lane having to serve that penalty. Unfortunately, he hit the cone on entry. So did Zishan Dura, who will also have a penalty to serve. But that is everybody has now come in the pit lane, and the lead should cycle back to Damian Leininger in this train of about 7 cars that is absolutely hooked up right now, and they have cleared the rest of the field.
Yeah, these guys are going to tuck in single file for as long as they can and just try and get some speed and distance in the rest of the pack here. If they can do that for the next 30 laps, it'll be their battle at the end. But for now, they don't want to slow down or slow the race down as much as they can. Just get away from everybody. I think it's going to be their goal going forward.
Yeah, I'm looking back through the field and looking back with Michael Daniel Martinez, the Pro Edge cars, the Toyotas behind him of Weeks, Clark, and Tooker. They are in a much bigger group that is still going to swallow up a couple more cars. They are eventually going to catch that lead group of 7 that is leading this race, which that lead group of 7 is really tight. No, we got one spinning. Nick Massey in the inside wall. Not sure if we'll get a caution for this or not. That is a chase driver, the one who came in the final spot on the bubble. Some nose damage there, nothing major. Spun coming out of the pits in the 48.
He's going to be punching his steering wheel for that one, Ryan.
Yeah, that's the worst. He came up off the apron onto the banking, and it snapped around on him. It's a tough bid there for Nick Massey.
No joke at all. So much power, so little downforce, especially while you're on that kind of flat, kind of banked area leaving the pits. If you give it a little bit too much go-go juice, it's going to whip around on you like we saw for him.
Yeah, snapped around on Nick Massey, got the inside wall. Not a ton of damage. Should be okay if he's able to get a caution and not lose a lap. But after all of that madness, that is the only chase driver that really took a big hit during those pit stops, Nick Massey. And unfortunately, he came in here in the final position in the chase. He was 9th in points coming into here, 3 points ahead of Chuck Sweeting, who came out of the pits within this lead group. Chuck Sweeting and Chad Frankenfield both were the last to pit in the green flag sequence there, and they both came out within this lead group, so they perfected it. But Vincent Isabella is leading a absolute freight train of cars that is coming in really fast with a huge run. They're doing at least 5 mile an hour faster than this lead group, and they're going to get there here out of turn 2.
Yeah, you hit right in the head. I'm showing 4 to 5 miles an hour faster. Isabella, that pack right behind them. Can't believe how well Sweeting and Frankenfield timed that pit cycle where they came right out with the lead pack. That was absolutely beautiful. I don't think they could do that again if they tried. That was great timing.
Here comes that second group. Chad Frankenfield from the last position. A lot of guys trying to block this run. This is where things get really dicey because these guys with the run do not want to lift because they have the biggest run they'll get all night from multiple seconds back. Frankenfield blocks the run, and he's now going to be the leader of this middle groove. And now look at Crump with Robin to the top, Rexing to the top, all sorts of jostling for position right now. Chad's going to go 3 wide. Frankenfield goes 3 wide with help from Isabella. That massive run from the second pack. Chad blocked it. and is able to get the advantage here. And just when you thought that was enough, there's another massive group coming in with an even bigger run further back that are going to make things happen here.
Oh, 3x3, man. This is good racing. Looks like Crump trying to make that car as wide as he can, maybe slow up that inside line a little bit, but it looks like most of the guys are going to drop back single file on that inside and try to make something happen. That middle group doesn't quite have the support it needs to get around these guys.
That large group of cars that caught up to the back of the field in the back did not take that run anywhere. They saw what was going on up there and said, no, thank you. So they fall in line single file, which the majority of those guys are the drivers that were sitting single file to start this race. And looks like they're going to voluntarily hang there for the time being. But, man, this lead group is getting all sorts of messy. It's Scott Crump, Josh Robin now on the middle line trying to make something happen, and Frankenfield leading the top.
Yeah, Crump went from high to mid to high to low, and he's trying to find every fast line he possibly can, but he led the last lap. He's going to try and bring home another one. And that middle line's getting some support.
Wow.
Right as we say it, Robin drops down to the bottom and blocks Crump.
Yeah, that was a big move by Robin from the middle to the bottom. Didn't let Crump get his nose in there. He drove down really aggressively, but now Josh Robin back to the top spot. He started second, has never looked back, and we are catching up to some lap traffic here. Just Zishan Dura, who you saw his pit entry served a penalty, and he is now at risk of going 2 laps down. He is currently the last car on the racetrack in 34th.
He is about to get swallowed up by this pack. That is one driver I would not want to be right now. He's doing his best to get to the high side, stay out of everybody's way, but they're running 3 wide most of the racetrack. There's not a whole lot you can do as a lap car.
Yeah, he did everything he could. He moved to the top line, and everybody filed back 2 wide. So no harm, no foul. They're going to easily be able to get on by Zishan Dura, who unfortunately now is 2 laps down. Going to be hard to bounce back there for Zishan, but Jared Rexing, the part-time driver this season in the number 10, is your leader in the Nesquik number 10. An ode to Jeff Green, who was unable to make it to tonight's race. Jeff Green was a winner at Daytona last season here in the SMRI Grand National Series. And now it's Trevor Elam, a guy who's been up front a lot of this race, looking for the lead. Ooh, Johnny Thomas got a little out of control on entry, though. Going to fall off the bumper and hurt the momentum of that top line.
Yeah, they lost the momentum, but I think that's better than the crash that was so close to happening there. Elam started getting another push from that outside line. Looks like that outside line's formed up a little bit better this go around. They're a little bit tighter than the inside, so we might be seeing them make something happen. The question is, are they going to be happy staying out there, or is Elam going to drop down low as soon as he gets the opportunity?
We'll have to see if he's able to get a big enough run here, because Johnny has been trying to push him as best as he can. But man, we are coming up on lap 50, and we have been caution-free, and they definitely have not been trying to keep it green, that's for sure. We have been racing crazy throughout this field, caution-free through 49 completed laps now. Jared Rexing leads. Josh Robin, Trevor Elam, Johnny Thomas, Scott Crump, the top 5 at the line. Just absolute madness throughout this entire field as we come to the close of the first round of the chase of the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to another one of our sponsors, C2 Freight Resources. C2 Freight in their services offer complete freight management services. They're ready to meet your needs today as well as your needs in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in their database, they're capable of handling shipping for every type of goods, from perishable foods to office equipment. Whatever you need to ship, they have access to the necessary equipment, including flatbeds, double drops, vans, tankers, refrigerated equipment, multi-axle heavy haulers, dump trucks, auto carriers, intermodal containers, and more. So make sure you check out C2 Freight Resources for those freight needs you may have.
I'm watching Johnny Thomas right now. He's not afraid to be a pusher, so he's trying to make something happen. Currently sitting in 3rd place of 25. He's been having a lot of good luck, and he's trying to aggressively move some cars forward ahead of him. He's currently pushing Trevor Elam in the 24 machine. Oh, they're just trying to make something happen. But God, with 25 to go, they haven't taken a break yet. They've been pushing as hard as they can since the beginning.
This has just been a hectic race. I've never seen a race be so competitive at a super speedway, yet so clean, especially in these cars where it's really easy to take somebody out off of your nose. I mean, I've been a victim. I've been the one who turns the guy in front of them. I mean, it's gone either way for myself, and I'm surprised that we have not seen it yet in this race. Only got 25 laps to go now here at Talladega. This is coming down to the nitty-gritty as we're coming to put Ethan Riesener a lap down. He also had a bit of a slow pit stop in the 86. Nick Massey not far ahead either, about to go a lap down. That is a chase driver in trouble, and many chase drivers have had trouble tonight.
Yeah, these lap cars do their best to hold the outside again. It's an absolute hornet's nest. It's breathing down their necks. These guys are not going to lift for the guys in the same lap, much less a lap car. So you either move out of the way or you're about to get collected. And he does the right thing, kind of gets as high as he possibly can, safe as he can. And the packs just keep pushing behind him here.
Yeah, Nick Massey going to be in contention for the lucky dog. You know he's going to be fighting for that hard at the tail of the field. Currently it's Nick Massey, Kendall Noah player, Ethan Riesener all one lap down.
Yeah, these guys hoping for a caution, but at this rate might not come. So we might, I don't want to get hit with the commentators first, but we might be able to keep it green for this one and impress a whole lot of people.
Yeah, still green, coming to the completion of 53 laps this time by, which is quite the astonishing feat already, making it this far without a caution flag. Trevor Elam leading in the number 24. On the bottom line, Johnny Thomas on the top line in the belly-up Sports Chevy, trying to make something happen with help from Chad Frankenfield in the Richmar Florist Ford Mustang.
Oh man, they are pushing as hard as they possibly can here. You see the cars get a little bit out of line every now and then where somebody gives them a bump mid-corner, but these guys are holding on to these such high horsepower cars like it's super easy for them. They're right around like a sprint stop. So zero problems so far for our competitors, keeping it clean and aggressive. Really, really impressed with these guys tonight.
That top line starting to fade a little bit, but look at this. Help is on the way. Josh Robin and Jared Rexing were both clear, and that's going to make that top line strong. Right as I said, they were fading. Now that bottom line has been killed as Jared Rexing, Josh Robin, and possibly Johnny Thomas all going to clear here. Robin and Rexing quickly drop to the inside. A really well-orchestrated move there by those two drivers. They're now leading this race on the inside. Johnny Thomas leading the top line still.
Yeah, they're going to try and make those cars as wide as they can. The more they slow down the pack right behind them, you're going to see more racing for third through fifth, and that'll slow down the pack just a little bit where these leaders can try and get a second or three. But just like that, they're already back nose to tail. Nobody's falling for it, and they're back at it.
Oh, Johnny Thomas was not clear, but he almost tried to clear himself. Rexing kept his foot in it, and luckily Johnny thought twice of that move to the bottom. But that's really going to hurt the top line's momentum as they come through the tri-oval now. We still remain green, and we still have a field of 23 cars within this lead draft. 30 remain on the lead lap, and all 34 starters are still on the racetrack. Chad Thornquist was supposed to be the 35th starter, but internet issues kept him from starting the race in 35th. He will finish 34th, though, is where the last driver started this race, and still on the track, Lee John Dura. We saw him with his penalty. He had to serve his 2 laps down in the last position, but still everybody in this race.
We're on board with Johnny Thomas. You can appreciate just how close these guys are and how smooth the wheel inputs are from Johnny Thomas as he goes around. Just trying to keep those tires from working too much. A little bit of micro input whenever he can, but smooth as fast as smooth as Thomas gets the scoring for. I'm just gonna say, it looks like Rexing edged him out the line there.
Yeah, it was close there at the line. That bottom line got a little squirrely. It was a little close there, and we got some guys trying to make a third line work here. Gerald Campbell, Scott Crump, Vincent Isabella have moved up to the third line, and then back to the middle as it didn't really come together so well. But now Jared Rexing moves to the top in front of Johnny Thomas, giving Josh Robin the lead of the bottom line. Oh, Josh Robin got a nose there from Trevor Elam. You see it on the onboard. He got all sorts out of control. These guys stacking up quite a bit here.
This is aggressive. Yep. The runs are getting longer. The drivers are getting a little bit more antsy, trying to make something happen. They're going to get a little bit more impatient as this run develops, and if somebody's not going to move out of the way, you can see some drivers kindly making them move.
Coming now to 19 as we cross the stripe. 19 laps remain in this race here at Talladega Superspeedway. Caution free so far as time starts to run out. What I do expect is a lot of the guys hanging in the back of the field start mixing it up with these guys who we've seen up front all race. It is amazing to see. It's the same names that have been up front in this top 10 all night long. None of these guys from the back of the field have yet thought about making a move to the front, but I think it's soon going to be time to make that move to the front of the field, seeing that we have remained clean and green this far. They got to get up to the front soon before it's too late.
Yeah, with less than 19 to go, 16 to go, if you're in that top 10 pack, you want to be in that kind of top 3 to 5 to make something happen in the final laps. Otherwise, it's going to be really darn near impossible to push up if you're further back than 10th. The other thing is you got to find somebody that wants to work with you and try to make that happen. If you're going to win, somebody's got to settle for second, and not many of these racers are trying to settle for second tonight, right?
Yeah, everyone's in here trying to win, especially all these guys up front who are not in the chase or are already locked into the next round, or the few that aren't and that are just going for it right now. Chad Frankenfield and Damian Leininger. And now Chris Wright has also joined the party. But we have got 3 wide now for the second spot. Josh Robin is leading. And there is Gerald Campbell, Scott Crump, Chris Wright, Vincent Isabella on the top line.
Yeah, here we go. I think it's going to be a lot of what we see for the next few laps. We're going to try and get one line working, tuck in, and gain a little positions here, but they're fighting tooth and nail for one spot at a time from front to back. I mean, not much separates this top 10 as far as time goes.
So it is still Jared Rexing leading the bottom line, Johnny Thomas the middle, and Gerald Campbell the top line. Rexing has been nosing out the other drivers to the line the last couple of laps. And the fastest lap of the race currently belongs to Harrison Talon. For those wondering, in the 51 car, he runs 22nd at the very tail of this lead group. And that is where you usually find yourself running some of the fastest lap times.
Yeah, Ryan, interesting to see. So with 16 to go, how are those pit strategies going to work out for a lot of these racers? Are we going to see guys like Frankenfield that boxed a little bit later be able to hold it wide more often? Or are we going to see some of these guys that pitted a few laps earlier than them, that pitted around lap 40 or 41, trying to do a little bit of fuel savings and fall off rapidly at the end? I'm not sure what we're going to see here.
I want to believe that everyone's going to be able to make it to the end of this race unless we get to the situation where very late with 2 or 3 to go, we have our first caution and we head into overtime. Then we could find ourselves into a bit of an interesting situation for those who stay out for track position. Then we might be pushing it a little close on fuel, having to run those extra caution laps into overtime and those overtime laps as well. That's going to be where it gets interesting, but I do believe if we don't go to overtime, we're going to be fine. But, oh, man, Rexing just tried to block the middle, but Johnny Thomas moved to the top. This is about to get really sketchy up here in the front of the field because we're going to have 3 even rows up front for the lead. Thomas, Rexing, Robin, 3 wide for 3 rows deep.
Easy, boys. 15 to go. You don't want to crash it quite yet. That outside line's pushing pretty aggressively, but so far it looks like the middle line's got the most strength here, Ryan.
Yeah, they got a good amount of cars in this middle line. Zach Evans in this line as well in the middle. And it's getting really interesting here. Those guys on the top, though, they've been able to make it work. Gerald Campbell, Scott Crump, we saw them do it earlier, is make that third line work really well. But we are coming down to the end of this one, and as you can see, the patience is going away for all of these drivers, even the ones that have shown no patience at all throughout this race. All that patience that they didn't have is still gone. So they're going to keep on pushing up this front of the field.
Yeah, there's no more time, Ryan, to hang back and hope for a crash. You've got to go and make something happen now, and maybe that causes the crash you've been trying so hard to avoid, but no time left to play it safe. These guys are going to be holding it wide open for as long as they can and making moves here, I think, with 14 to go.
Still seeing a lot of guys hanging in the back of this draft, especially those chase drivers. Matthew Weeks, David Tooker, Josh Clark, Vincent Isabella has been up front. He's hanging back right now, though. Also, we have Brian Blauman, Hank Steinmiller, all still hanging back. But they are going to get up to the front here soon. They're running out of time, and there's a lot of cars still left in this one that they're going to have to pass that have speed and strength in numbers. And Chad Frankenfield has moved to the lead of the bottom line, and he has got himself a really good run out of turn 4, and he is clear out front. Let's see if he does any blocking. Rexing makes a move to the middle, but doesn't get much momentum as he tagged the back bumper of Frankenfield to the stripe. Chad Frankenfield's going to lead this one. 3 wide now, 3 rows deep again.
Yeah, Frankenfield we haven't seen up here all night besides when he boxed a little bit later than everybody else. We know he has the fuel to run it wide the whole time. Hopefully he can have the support from the guys right behind him to stay in line, get a little bit of speed going, and not worry too much about what the second and third lanes are doing. But as we say, that middle lane gets a good drive. We'll start seeing them drop low here soon.
Yeah, Rexing is clear, but he's not going to make the move to the bottom, which can be dangerous because now you got the car behind him overheating. You've got those guys getting really tight here as they check up into the corner. Rexing chose not to drive to the bottom, which could have its consequences, but playing aggressive defense right now as we come down to the end of this one.
Yeah, really cool to see Frankenfield up here this right now. Rexing edges him out at the line, but Frankenfield might be the dark horse in this race after starting off pretty slow, but he's up 11 positions right now.
Yeah, he came into this race +8 to the good in the chase, has picked up a bonus point for leading a lap. As, man, we're getting awfully dicey here. 4 wide down the back straightaway. Look at Zach Evans. Johnny Thomas just made it 4 wide. He made his own groove. Second from the middle on the right. Johnny Thomas just split Trevor Elam and sent him to the rear. And now it is Johnny Thomas working that top groove. Zach Evans working the middle. He's had a couple good runs this season at some short tracks trying to make it happen. At Talladega, we got contact. Man, Frankenfield blocked Josh Robin, but was not clear and knocked Josh Robin up a groove. Robin hangs onto it. Now it's Jared Rexing with the run in the middle and Zach Evans with a run behind Jared Rexing. What a run.
Frankenfield says, not today, young man, as he holds it down the inside, but 3 wide. We're going to see Josh coming back. He's going to try and get that spot that he believes is his. So, oh, man, 10 to go. I think this is where we're going to see things get really, really dicey as guys are unafraid to hang it out. When in doubt, throttle out here in Elite Racing.
And it is go time. All those guys that were hanging in the back, the Pro Edge Racing Toyotas are going. Here they come to the front. You see now multiple rows of 3 wide racing all the way through almost to the very back of what is left of this field. And now it is the bottom line making a move. Damian Leininger to the top, abandons his teammate behind him, Tyler Fody. Leininger now up in front of Rexing going for the lead. Damian Leininger and Chad Frankenfield, a lot of history between those two drivers. Leininger leads over Frankenfield at the stripe.
Oh, that is a thick pack there in the middle of it. I don't think either line may have a disadvantage here, but maybe that outside line doesn't quite have the support it needs, but man, they're going to get as hard as a drive as they possibly can, try to make something happen before they drop low, but 3 wide and 6 back. It's going to be really, really spicy as Campbell and Frankenfield go back and forth.
Unbelievable racing up front right now. I don't know how long this is going to last, but only 10, now 9.5 laps left in this race. Unbelievable racing up front. 3 wide, about 6 rows back throughout this field. Frankenfield almost clear into the lead, but Leininger is hanging at his right rear as we speak, down the front straightaway and through the tri-oval. Look at Josh Robin dropping to the middle line. He was up top, not anymore. Oh, they're contacting.
Oh, there it goes!
Crashing.
There it goes!
Thomas Sherman is upside down.
Oh, no! The big one at Talladega!
Trevor Elam, Zach Evans involved. Thomas Sherman sliding on his roof is going to flip back onto his all fours, but caution finally out. Multiple cars involved. Man, things got really tight through the tri-oval. Josh Robin made a move from the top down to the middle, and it was just really tight. Guys getting pinched through that tri-oval.
Oh, Ryan, we lost a lot of good men there.
It looks like Zach Evans is where it's going to start. Looks like a little bit of net code between him and Thomas Sherman's right rear is going to hook Thomas Sherman up into Scott Crump, Trevor Elam. Man, multiple cars. Looks like only 4 or 5 cars are going to pick up damage from that wreck, but man, heavy damage to Trevor Elam and Thomas Sherman. Zach Evans is having a great run. You're going to see one chase driver involved, Chris Wright in the 69. Who
Absolutely
got some damage.
spectacular here at Talladega.
But upside down goes Thomas Sherman, and man, it took over 68 laps to get our first caution. Got to applaud these drivers for making it last that long, and the fact that netcode is going to be the cause of our first caution. I mean, that was just unbelievable racing that we had throughout the entire field. And it's going to see a lot of guys pitting here from the rear of the field to top off on fuel, maybe take some tires, but everyone up front stays out. They should be able to save enough gas to make it to the end now.
Oh, Thomas Sherman in the 23 machine needs to sell some ad space on the bottom of the 23 car after that spectacular crash. Might be the longest slide I've seen in a long time here at iRacing.
Yeah, that's not something you see too often on iRacing, is a car sliding on its roof for that long, but we got a taste of that right there as Sherman went on quite the slide. It's been a really unlucky season for Thomas Sherman, and unfortunately that's going to continue here at Talladega. But not a lot of chase drivers heavily involved in that one. As I mentioned earlier, there was a little bit of damage to the 69 of Chris Wright, who came into this race plus 29 in points. So I think he'll be all right to hang in there throughout the rest of this one. And he's not the biggest worry when it comes to the chase points, but who is outside looking in coming into this race was Chuck Sweeting, Josh Clark, and David Tooker. And another big story is we saw Nick Massey spin under the caution or under the green flag pit stops on pit exit. He just got the lucky dog, so he'll be back on the lead lap. 31 cars are now on the lead lap. That's big for Nick Massey as he came into this race only 3 points to the good.
Man, right now it's the Leninger and Frankenfield show. Rexy's also in the mix, and Fody. All of these guys have shown they have the pace to bring it home at the end. With 5 to go before we once we go green, wherever that might be, it's going to be an absolute shootout here at the end. These guys, I think everybody in the top 10 is going to be happy they just avoided the carnage behind them, but these guys are ready to make something happen. If we're going to see some aggressive racing at all tonight, it's going to be now.
Yeah, this is the product of this kind of race that we're having here. Reminds me of a couple super speedway races that have happened in real life where you don't get a big crash that takes out a lot of cars until you get close to the end here. So we just had our first crash, and it only took out maybe 3 or 4 cars completely out of this race, out of contention for holding into the lead group, at least with the amount of damage they picked up. But now we have at least 25, maybe 30 cars that are going to be fast enough to run and go for the lead. So it's going to be absolute madness here for the next couple of laps. And yeah, I'm not going to get my hopes up for going caution-free to the end now from where we are, but there's a good chance we pick up one more yellow at least here because there's a lot of cars and it is no more hanging back. It's go time for everybody, chase driver or not. It is time to go. You need every point you can get here.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. Once you break the seal over at Talladega Superspeedway, the cat is out of the bag, and I think the next few laps are going to be very, very exciting for everybody watching along at home, much less the drivers that are out there.
So getting ready for a fantastic finish here. Damian Leininger, our reigning Talladega winner here in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. He elects to take the outside because behind him now will be his teammate Tyler Fody, who will restart in the 4th position. And Chad Frankenfield will have Jared Rexing behind him on the bottom line.
Yeah, we've seen Frankenfield. He's been happy to run that inside line all day. Outside line I didn't have the support for the most part to make something happen at the start-finish line in the last green flag lap, so they might be able to work together a little bit more on the outside now and make it happen.
So 1 lap to green here. I want to give another shout out. We haven't had much time to talk to our sponsors because we have just been involved in some madness from start to finish so far here, and we want to shout out to Richmar Florists. They have been serving the Lehigh Valley and beyond since 1955. Richmar Florist has grown into one of the most recognizable floral names in the racing world. Richmar Florist offers delivery around the corner or around the world with the simple and easy-to-use website www.richmarflorist.com. They offer selections for any of life's special occasions. Richmar Florist is proud partners with Pocono Raceway, Dover International Speedway, and drivers across all 3 series of NASCAR. Support the family-owned company who supports your favorite sport virtually and at the track. Call or order online today. I'm sure they got a lot of business just yesterday on Mother's Day.
Oh, God, yes.
It was basically Flower Day yesterday, Mother's Day was, and of course get on richmarflorist.com for your flower and florist needs.
Here we go, Ryan. What's your predictions, man? We've got pace cars coming in.
My prediction is this race might end in a couple laps. But coming to the green flag.
Thank you, Ryan.
For possibly our final restart, but possibly not our final restart for the safe antifreeze and coolants 200 from Talladega. I would predict who's going to make the chase or not, but things could change in a heartbeat. Damian Leiniger jumps before the green lights, which is not something you do often at Talladega, but he has help from his teammate behind. They're going to time it well, but not well enough to be clear of Chad Frankenfield. He was ready on the bottom, so Leiniger going to hold the top. He's not going to block the bottom. He wants his teammate behind him.
Yeah, you don't want to bail on your teammate right here, but looks like Frankenfield getting a big push from Rexy. They're going to try and make something happen on the inside line, and they're absolutely not going to let Leininger and looks like Fody drop down in line. So I'm not sure what line's going to form up here. The guys behind him have to pick who are going to try and push up to the front right now.
Now, Damian Leiniger jumping that restart before the lights. You can see how the field has become so strung out. Nobody was really ready for that. It's really normal to hang until the green lights go on and the green flag flies here at Talladega, but they jumped early, and now look at the huge run these guys are going to have. This is going to set up for a really dangerous couple of laps here.
Yeah,
as we come down to just 5 to go.
That middle line's getting something for them. They've got a lot more support on the outside than they do the inside, so looks like Frankenfield's about to get edged out the line.
Damian was a little too high for Fody, and Fody had to lift so he didn't turn his teammate. But we have got everybody nose to tail here from front to back throughout this field. And Chad Frankenfield gets spun in front of the field, and that's going to take out a couple more, and they're still crashing. Chuck Sweeting, I see Hank Steinmiller, multiple chase drivers involved. Rexing, I believe, turned Chad Frankenfield from the lead around in front of everybody. Oh, man. Chad Frankenfield barely came up off the bottom, and you see Rexing's left side's planted on that yellow line. He's trying to see in front of him, and that's all it takes.
Just edges him around, it looks like, and then Frankenfield goes for a wild ride here.
That is all it takes here at Talladega. Rexing got torn up a little bit, not too bad, but heavy damage to Hank Steinmiller, one of the chasers, as well as Chuck Sweeting, as well as Chad Frankenfield, who has heavy damage. So caution number 2, that's going to bring us
I don't see a caution
more than likely
here.
to overtime.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, caution flag is out.
Yeah, the live timing didn't show that in the top left, and I freaked out for a second. Oh no, we've missed something.
Yeah, sometimes you get weird no cautions, but that time we got one, especially here at Talladega. If you have a car spin to the bottom, out of harm's way like we saw Nick Massey earlier, the caution will not trigger, but we got one there. Couple cars involved. Damian Leiniger and Tyler Fody, teammates, will be restarting 1-2. Jared Rexing with a little bit of damage is third. I'm assuming he's going to stay out. His nose is clean. That's the most important thing here at the super speedways. No engine damage.
Yeah, I'm showing Frankenfield, Isabella, and Sweeting all officially involved in that one.
Still 31 cars in this race. This might change now that heavy damage to a couple cars in that one, including Chad Frankenfield. Vincent Isabella might have got the worst of it. That car is torn up from nose to tail.
Yeah.
Chuck Sweeting also with very heavy damage. A chase driver came into this race on the outside looking in. Now he's in some big trouble here.
Yeah, it looks like when Frankenfield went around for his wild ride, he just kind of tipped right back in front of Isabella, and huge damage out of nowhere. Nowhere for Isabella to go on that one, so you're just kind of stuck hanging on for the ride.
So tough bid there for a lot of chase drivers. I'm sure Chad Frankenfield is not happy about that one, because now that has put him in a tough spot. He came in +8, so if he's able to make up some spots here in the final restart, he could maybe make something happen, but it's going to be tough to do. Also, I'm not sure. I think we are going to go to overtime here because we're at 2 to green. We're going to take 1 to green with 2 to go, so the green flag will happen on lap 76. So we will have to go to overtime. So this will be the last restart. The overtime rules here in the Elite Racing League and on iRacing, we only do 1 attempt at overtime. So if you get a caution before the white flag, the race will end immediately, and Timing and scoring will go back to the last scoring loop, and that's where we will find our race winner. Just like real life when the caution comes out on, say, the last lap. But of course, on iRacing, with safety not being an issue, we don't need cautions on the last lap. So they wreck on the white flag, they're going to race it out to the checker. So no cautions once we hit the white flag. But if we get a caution before the white flag, we will be over at the time of caution.
And just like the old school rules where they used to race to the yellow before this big safety thing became a concern. So when men were men and the 70s were rocking.
That's right. Oh, that's right. And thankfully in iRacing, safety will never be an issue until we get some sort of crazy realistic simulators. But who knows when that day will come. You get the harmful simulators, but hopefully we don't get that crazy.
Yeah, you get a real bill and everything following the race.
Yeah, there you go. But coming to the green flag will be overtime. And it is Lake Norman Motorsports teammates running 1-2. Damian Leininger looking to go back-to-back at Talladega, winner last season here at Talladega, looking to do it again. Has yet to win a race this season, although he's come close a few times. And he is looking for the win here at Talladega to lock himself into the next round. But nevertheless, all he needs is a solid finish here, and he'll more than likely be into the next round of the chase. But of course you want to win the thing, and then Tyler Fode is in it to win it, or at least in it to help his teammate, because Fode, the best driver so far this season, is looking to continue his streak of every single race being in the top 6. So that is a streak that he wants to continue right there.
Yeah, crazy impressive driving from Fode. It's also a real pleasure to talk to those Lake Norman Motorsports guys. I hop in their hall every now and then, just kind of check in with them, and they're very cool, calm, and collected. Pretty much every week is going, hey, we want a top 10, we want to keep all the cars clean, make the sponsors happy, and bring home some points. So good for those guys for having a game plan and sticking to it week in and week out.
Now, as we come to the final restart, just wanted to update you guys real quick. Next week is the first race of the final round number 2, where we go to Phoenix Raceway for 100 laps, then it's 150 laps at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and then the finale of the second round where we cut from 9 drivers down to our final 4. We will race at Auto Club for 80 laps, so 3 fairly short races, 80 laps at Auto Club, 150 at Bristol, and 100 at Phoenix. 3 really quick races before we head to 200 miles, 130 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the season finale on June 14th. So that is what we got left this season, but still got to look at how this race plays out before we got next week in mind, because we get a wild finish at Talladega here for the safe Antifreeze and Coolants 200 come out.
Yeah, 2 to go, or 2 laps of a wild shootout with these drivers. It's going to be nothing short of spectacular, I think, because, again, nothing left to lose. These guys are going to huck it as far as they possibly can, as quickly as they can. So I'm expecting some good 3-4 wide action going into one on this one.
Here we go. Damian Leininger is your leader. He elected to take the outside line, so he'll have Josh Robin behind him, but it's Tyler Fode on the inside line, his teammate. So we'll see if those guys have a plan. I assume, as you can see, Tyler Fode is laying back a little bit while Leininger's got a bit of a lead. So my thinking here is these guys are going to try and hook up nose to tail. We are green. Damian Leininger jumps out front to a big lead and is very clear, has to wait till he gets to the start-finish line to change lanes, and he does so. So now it's Lake Norman 1-2 on the bottom as the field has strung out a little bit. Let's see if we can make it to the white flag.
Yeah, Linder with a great start there. He's got Fode right behind him. These guys are going to push for these last couple laps and try and defensively hold that bottom. They're going to hope and pray that outside line doesn't get for him. And as we do that, they start getting 3 cars forming up and making it happen.
Oh boy, Leininger's going to need to block that run. He's not going to, though. That is a 3-car freight train up on the outside line. Hectic racing through the back of the field. These guys don't want to see the caution flag. I know right now Jared Rexing does, until here comes Damian Leininger with the run on the bottom. Not a lot of help on the inside line for those Lake Norman cars. A lot of guys on the middle and top line right now. Out of turn 4, crashing in the back of the field. It's over.
Oh,
caution
no.
flag. Jared Rexing, I believe, is going to be the winner, as he had half a car length over Damian Leininger. And it looks like Jared Rexing takes the yellow and white flag, and the part-time driver here in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series is going to pick up the win at Talladega. Leininger should be second, Robin third. crash happened toward the back. Let's see
Yeah,
what we can
I
find
got
here.
eyes on the replay right now. Oh, it's just carnage back here.
Looks like it began with Chad Frankenfield. He came down across the nose of Richard Hines in turn 4. He was not clear, and that brought out the caution flag, took out a couple guys, including Hank Steinmiller, Zach Evans, Mark Keeler involved. You see Chad on the third groove up there. He's going to come down, not clear.
Yeah, it's like the number 15 machine, correct?
That is correct. And he is racing for everything right here. Just got in that accident. He needs all the points he can get. And unfortunately for Chad, was getting a little too aggressive and may have taken himself out of the chase. We'll have to see how the points come out here.
Just drops right in on the 87. 87's got nowhere to go here, and Frankenfield goes for a ride.
Yeah, he was not quite clear there, Chad Frankenfield. So close, and he was being very aggressive, knowing that he needed everything he could get. But unfortunately, a wild race that went caution-free for as long as it did winds up with 3 quick yellows to end it. And coming to the yellow and checkered flag, Jared Rexing is going to pick up his first win in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series in the number 10 Nesquik Chevrolet. Jared Rexing gets it done, a winner at Talladega. Damian Leininger is going to finish second and Josh Robin third, but Jared Rexing wins the safe antifreeze and coolants 200 from Talladega.
Yeah, good for Rexing. He had a good clean range for the most part. He's a really heavy pusher, and for the most part kept his car machined. The back of that Nesquik car is a little bit crumpled, but considering what everybody else went through tonight, I'd say he had a pretty good luck on that.
I would have to agree there for sure, and got to give some shout-outs, some good runs. Michael Daniel Martinez finishes 6th after a great run last week where he finished 4th at Charlotte. Top 5 for Gerald Campbell. Dustin Dewar finished in the 9th position. Some good runs for those guys throughout the field and in the top 10. We'll have to wait on the update for the point standings, which we'll get probably before we go off air, as it's the cutoff race, and we'll update on who makes it through and who doesn't. But Jared Rexing, your race winner from Talladega.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing his post interview on how his night went, but from the results, I think he's going to be happy tonight.
Yeah, I would have to agree that he's going to be pumped up about that win here at Talladega, and what looked to be for the drivers a very enjoyable race.
So Ryan, with the race finishing under caution, we ran green pretty much the entire night. Are you surprised how long those green flag runs actually were?
I expected us to get maybe a green flag run of 30 or 40 laps, maybe get some green flag pit stops, but that run that we had that lasted well over half the race was surprising to me. But I'm glad we were able to get that run that we got, and then we tore some stuff up toward the end of the race, which is bound to happen. But I mean, that was just some really impressive driving here by all these drivers. That was all around a really great race.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to call. Can't believe how good the racing was tonight. Right as we say that, somebody gets a little exciting and spins the leader, but they're going to come in and celebrate, I think, in the toy haulers tonight.
Yeah, there's the big one right there. We didn't really have that big of a pileup. Had a couple of like 4 or 5 car wrecks, but nothing major overall throughout this entire race. But still a fantastic race. Just really overall good racing by all these guys throughout the field. I can't wait to hear from our top 3 drivers here momentarily, which Jared Rexing, your winner, Damian Leininger second, Josh Robin in third, as these guys celebrate like you do on iRacing.
So Rexing not going to get any victory burnouts after that. I believe his engine may be toast. Nope, he proves me wrong and lights it up.
There he goes. Jared Rexing, your winner.
The old Wreckfest celebration here.
Yeah, Jared Rexing has made 5 starts so far this season. Best finish of 9th. He's had some good runs, led 65 laps at Darlington, led some laps at Rockingham earlier in the season, but only 1 top 10 so far. He's been pushing checkers or wreckers all season. He got the checkers tonight. And we're going to pull up your 3rd place finisher, Josh Robin. Josh Robin, Ryan Gable up here in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, Josh had yourself a solid run here, ran up front all night long, and it played in your favor as it was a relatively clean Talladega race. You were able to bring it home in the third position. Just talk us through your race there.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. A lot of intense racing. We started the race in second. Good starting spot. Um, then I'd say I stayed up in the top five, top 10 all race, and had a good stop there on that green flag run there, and just swapping the lead back and forth. A lot of fun racing up there with the guys.
Yeah, now it was a very competitive race up front. Is that what you expected coming into tonight, or were you expecting more of a wreck fest? That was on any standard, never mind Elite Racing League standard. That was an extremely clean Talladega race. Is that what you expected? Did you think that we were going to have ourselves a fuel mileage race? We almost went green to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I actually expected it to be we to have these long green flag runs. I feel like we've been doing great at these plate races, so they really haven't been, like wreck fests. But yeah, I expected a couple cautions, which we got them, and I just wish we had more green white checkers. It sucks to finish it under yellow, but yeah, and a lot of great teamwork with Rexine and Gerald.
Yeah, it was a great race by all of you guys. You ran up front all night long and got yourself a solid podium finish here at Talladega. Is there anyone you want to thank or any shout outs you want to make before I let you go?
Yeah, you guys for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch it later on. And to all the admins and the league owner putting on this league, they do a great job. Shout out to my teammates and Jared for getting the win.
Yeah, great run for all you guys, and it'll definitely be an entertaining one to watch over again. Congratulations on the podium. All right, well, that was your third place finisher, Josh Robin. We're going to throw Damian Leininger up in here. Damian Leininger, you got me. It's Ryan Gable.
Yeah, I got you.
Damian, I know you're probably bummed you didn't get that win. You drove a fantastic race, but still a great finish. You bring it home second. You and your teammate Tyler Fody working great together, and you had a great first round of the chase, qualifying into the next round. So overall, great race for you. Just talk us through that last restart in that entire race.
So I really didn't want to be up front at all during this race. I wanted to go to the back and kind of just ride. And I started sixth on the outside or third on the outside groove, but sixth overall. And there was just never a spot for me to get down until I think right as we were going to make that first set of pit stops. So I finally got down there. We pitted, and then we came out in the lead, cycled through for a couple laps until that big group kind of caught back up. And then it was just kind of a hornet's nest. I mean, we were three wide for so long. And then Chad ended up getting wrecked right there. And on that final restart, I had planned with Fody to, I was going to jump, I was going to get down in front of him and just kind of wrap the bottom. We felt like the top would get the run down the backstretch, but if we could get through 3 and 4 and then down that short chute before the trioval, we'd have a good run coming out and most likely be able to, stay ahead. And when Rexine jumped out, I asked him, I was like, "Does you have any help?" And he's like, "No, I have nobody else behind me." And by the time I figured that out, he was already coming and there was no way to block it. So just right there, and I think it was like a bumper or something. Don't exactly have it timed up, but good win by Rexine. It was just a good smart call in there. I guess he was working with Robin and Campbell there. So
Yeah, it came down to that one extra guy on the top line. You lost it by about half a car length or so at the time of caution, but still great run. And now you've got yourself into the final round of the chase. And you've got Phoenix next week, then Bristol, then Auto Club, two shorter tracks, and then the 2 mile speedway of Auto Club. What do you think your chances are making it into the final four? You definitely have shown some speed at all different kinds of tracks throughout this season. Do you think you'll be able to put it together?
yeah, Phoenix and Bristol are two tracks I like really, really a lot. So Auto Club, I'm not sure how quite that one is. So I hope to kind of build myself a good gap at Phoenix and Bristol, maybe win one of them. I don't know. I'm got a lot of tough competition in this league, but I feel like at times I can run right up there with them all. So we'll see what we can do, and hopefully talking about a Final Four appearance.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan to me. Congratulations on the runner-up and a great run tonight. Too bad you couldn't get the win, but you're on to the next round.
Man.
That was your runner-up, Damian Leininger. We're going to throw your race winner, Jared Rexing, on up here. Jared Rexing, Ryan Gable up here. You got me?
Sure.
Well, Mr. Rexing, you pulled off a win here. Part-time driver here in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series, but you ran up front all night here at Talladega. It's your first top 5 on the season. You only made 5 previous starts, and man, it's P1 here at Talladega. Did you think you'd be able to do it?
Honestly, no. I always seem to get caught up in a wreck at these super speedway packages, but I had my PRC guys around me toward the end, and we were able to work together. And I was going for it. I didn't have anything to lose, obviously not being in the playoffs, and everything just lined up at the end. And with the caution coming out, just worked out.
Yeah, the not hanging back. A lot of guys like the hanging back strategy, including myself, but that was not the winning strategy tonight, as all you guys that were running up front all night were the ones that finished up front with a race that went green so long. Did you think that race was going to go green for that long? We had a extremely long run to start that race that really shook out the field, but toward the end, of course, the cautions finally came. Is that what you expected for this race to play out like that?
No, I really didn't, because we had so many people that had the same mindset as me. We're going for wins. We're going to run up front the whole race. I thought for sure there'd be a wreck, but everyone kept it pretty clean. And unfortunately, we had a caution toward the end. It'd be cool if it went caution free.
Yeah, well, it was a wild race, and congratulations to yourself and your teammates. All had a fantastic run here tonight. So, anyone you want to thank or any shout outs you want to make before I let you go?
Thanks to Robin and Gerald and all the PRC guys, Racing Point Emu guys, for working with me and helping me stay up front. And as always, shout out to my wife for letting me do this.
Of course, and congratulations on the win in the part-time effort. Not a part of the chase that continues through this season, but nevertheless, a win's a win. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again before the season's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, well, there was race winner Jared Rexing, and man, James, we had a crazy race here tonight, and I wanted to update really quickly. The points have been calculated, and due to that last lap accident with Chad Frankenfield, if my math is correct here, he has been eliminated from the chase. Eliminated are Scott Crump, R.C. Enerson, who I want to give a shout out to real quick. He won the opener of this round at Mid-Ohio. And unfortunately, I don't think it's unfortunate personally, but he has to go race in the Indianapolis 500 this year. So he had to depart to Indianapolis and get ready for that. So he unfortunately has been eliminated from contention, as well as Chuck Sweeting and Chad Frankenfield, all eliminated. Hank Steinmiller, by 2 points, snuck ahead of Chad Frankenfield to make it into the next round. So the round of 9 will be Hank Steinmiller, Nick Massey, David Tooker, Josh Clark, Matthew Weeks, Brian Blauman, Damian Leininger, Chris Wright, and Tyler Fode are going to be battling for the final 4 spots in the chase. Now, James, I know you don't get to do these Xfinity races, the SMRI production races often, but man, I think that was one of the better ones of the season you got to work here with.
Yeah, that was spectacular. Big, huge green flag run I would have never expected. And the guys, 2, 3 wide the entire time, kept it clean, pushed each other very hard. But for the most part, everybody kind of kept it towards the end before things started going flying and body panels got damaged. So great racing tonight from all the competitors, and looking forward to what future races these guys put on. It's always a good show.
Yeah, so we will be back next week at the Phoenix International Raceway for 100 laps over there at Phoenix. That's bound to be an exciting one as we kick off the round 2, the round of 9 here in the chase, the final 4 races of the season. As you see your results on the screen as we sign out here tonight for Talladega in the Safe Antifreeze and Coolants 200. We want to thank you all for watching here on the Late Racing Network. I'm Ryan Gable, and alongside me is James East. And thank you all for watching.